Hey guys, welcome to Open Studio. You're watching at right here on Cape Town TV. So today's topic is one that's very interesting and it's all got to do with leadership and youth. So joining me in studio today is one lovely gentleman who's from an amazing organization called Youth Leadership Empowering Group. Center, sorry. Youth Leadership Empowering Center. And he's here to talk to us a little bit more about what the center do and how they reach out to communities. So my brother, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah. Like I said earlier on, it's such a great pleasure to have you on studio with us today. And just for those that's watching at home, that's watching for the first time, can you just introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from and a little bit about your background.
Wow, thank you very much, though. Really appreciate this invitation.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm Lusimanadio R Simao. I'm actually the founder and managing director of Youth Leadership Empowering Center, based in Cape Town. And well, speaking about my background, it's like writing a book. But anyways, it's engineer, by profession, but I'm also a project manager. I'm also following a career in this area, and I've been working a very long time, speaking to communities and motivating, especially young people. That's why I really feel that passion, that all the time when I stand to speak to people, I want to communicate life to them. That's why it came to my mind and I said, okay, let me build this organization of Youth Leadership Empowering Center, and at least I can empower people through my own organization.
Wow. So what would you say inspired you, to start this organization? What is your purpose?
Well, what really inspired me to start this organization was the difficulties that we have been facing presently, especially with the young people. I grew up in a community that we did not see people growing with this ability of succeeding so quick. People struggling, getting themselves into drug, sometimes into prostitution. People that I know I grew up with and I really regret, So all those things pushed me to a point where I need to do something to change their lives. So I thought, okay, let me do this. Let me build this, even if it's going to be struggling, but I need to do something to take these people out.
Yeah. Wow. And you mentioned skills, and many people or many people that we've grown up with, and many people that we've seen or that we looked up to growing up has fallen along the way, and and it's because they lack a certain skill, or it might be because they lack a certain opportunity. So what is the skills that you think is essential for young people, in youth in particular, and how is your center helping them, get that skill?
Well, I think that when it comes to skill, it's all about particular. It's about personal, Some people they lack the opportunity to grow faster, not because of lack of skills, but because of lack of support. But the others who have support, but they don't have the skills. You understand? So we are trying to accommodate everybody. So the opportunity that we are offering to them is, if you lack skills, we give you skills. And if you lack opportunities like support to further your skills, we give you support. So that's the more important that we are really focusing on in this organization.
Wow. And so far, how long has the organization been active?
It's been 2 years now.
And you've
not that long, but at least.
No, but when you're dealing with young people, any achievement is a good achievement.
It's a good.
As long as it's something positive.
Yeah.
So when we speak in that field where achievements is concerned, within this 2 years of you guys being active, what would you say has stood out for you most, in being able to help these young people get the necessary skills required, to get out there in the big world?
Well, what really, there's this thing that the last time I did it was last year. We had a meeting with some entrepreneurs. Well, not really yet entrepreneurs, but they were aspiring to get into entrepreneurship. And we were talking and trying to motivate and empower them. There was this young man who was very excited, and he actually had a very nice idea, but he didn't have support, And there were people also who came to us and they were struggling with the possibilities of how to get into the job, you know, and we had to help them. And what really most touches my heart is to see people who have skills and capacities to grow, but they have been looking for opportunities, but it doesn't come.
Yeah.
You know, so in all those years that we've been working, this is what really touched my heart. You know, supporting those young people to get into work. Some of them, they are working now, and some of them, they get into universities.
Yeah.
So we help them to get there.
Wow.
And this is what matters to us.
You know, as a leader, I would say like selflessness is something that, you know, a leader should have. You know, now besides that, you guys are busy grooming future leaders. What would you say is a leader in your perspective?
Like who is a leader? Yeah, this is a very nice question.
Yeah.
I've seen some people who couldn't even answer, but they call themselves leaders. You know, well, first of all, it's about understanding what leadership is all about. So when you understand what leadership is all about, then you know who is a leader. For me, in my understanding, leader is someone who looks for ways to influence. Okay, and when you understand what leadership is, you don't force things. If you want to influence some people, you don't have to shout at them. You don't have to give them orders. You know what I mean? You have just to be able to influence. In other words, look for better ways to get through. That's a leader. You look for a better way to look through. A leader is someone who is optimistic. He's not someone of particularities. He's someone who always tries to make his abilities available to others. This is actually the true sense of humility too, because it's about taking what you have and put it in a disponibility of others. So that's what makes someone a leader.
Wow. And to hear you speak, actually, that is a leader. You know, like I mentioned earlier on, selflessness is essential.
Yeah.
You know, because there are people that's looking up to you, and like you mentioned, you have to be an influence to those that's following and that you are leading. But that is one very interesting topic. We're going to take a short break quickly, so when we come back, we're going to continue on that particular one. So for those that's watching at home, are you a leader, a church group leader, a social group leader, whatever the case may be, then this is just for you, so do not go anywhere. Guys, welcome back. You're watching Open Studio right here on Cape Town TV. Like we mentioned earlier on, Youth Leadership Empowering Center is with us here in studio today. We've got the founder with us, and we've been in conversation. We spoke a little bit about the background, his background in particular, and also how the organization has been going about helping young people, you know, acquire skills essential for the big bad world, like people said, the big bad world out there.
Yeah.
So like we spoke earlier on. We spoke about the qualities of a leader. You know, what a leadership needs to have, you know, in order to lead, basically. And we find leaders everywhere. We find leaders in social groups. We find leaders in corporate world, corporate groups. We find leaders in schools. You know, we find leaders everywhere. And now, each leadership has got different. I'll say each leader has got a different approach on how they do things depending on where they find themselves. You know, so with your organization, leadership is one of the skills that you are coaching or that you are teaching children. So how do you go about identifying how the person is and also where they will find themselves and how to make use of their abilities to help others?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. You know, sometimes I see leaders coaching, okay, or training, giving some knowledge to others, or trying to influence people around. But there is something that is lacking, something that you don't see it common, you know. So I came to understand about there is a need for every leader who really finds himself or herself as a leader in a community. You need to understand 4 things, you know. You need to know the 4 different ways of influencing people.
Yeah.
You do not lead people the same way.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to lead a child the same way you lead a teenager, that will never work. Neither if you want to lead a teenager the same way you should be leading a adult, that will never work. You know, because a young baby, like a young boy, wants to watch cartoon, and the teenager wants to watch Hannah Montana. Then the old guy wants to watch maybe a nice American movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you deal with those people differently. So how do you get there? You need to understand first thing. There's people who needs to be directed.
Yeah.
Others, they need to be guided. Others need to be supported, and there's others that need to be empowered. Okay, so you need to understand these 4 steps, these 4 things. If you look at somebody and you want to influence that person, you want to lead that person, you want to get that person to a certain level, you need first to analyze the level of that person, where that person is, in order for you to carry on. You can't just come and start leading somebody without knowing where he is, what is in his mind, what does he know, what are his skills, you know? Because you might find somebody who knows more than you and you're trying to lead that person, and then you crash. So there is a need for every person who calls himself a leader to, before get into a contact with someone who he will call a mentee, to mentor that person, you need to know the state of that person before. So you know if the person needs to be directed, guided, supported, or empowered.
Wow. Wow. So leadership is not just about leading.
Yeah.
It's not just about leading. There's a lot more that comes to it. So you have to take into account who is the person you are dealing with, and you know, backgrounds plays a big role. Because
yeah.
many people can put out a smile in front of you, but you don't know what they've been going through. You know? And trying to lead somebody based on what you're seeing on the outside might not really affect the inside.
Yes.
You know, and that's a good message actually to put out there for those that's, you know, trying to get into that hoop of becoming a leader.
Yeah.
You know, wow. So for you to become a leader, you have to have a purpose.
You do.
You mentioned, you told us about your purpose, you told us about your background and what encouraged you, you know, to move into starting this organization. So for those that missed it, for those that just tuned in, can you tell us what is your purpose and how do you help other young people find their purpose?
Well, I always translate my purpose as my vision, and the same way as my objective, okay? Which is to like, in 10 years from now, or in 15 years from now, I want to see a grown youth community, full of businessmen, full of leaders, people able to change the environment. That's my purpose, to bring that to happen.
Wow. And how has your response been? How has the response been with the young people that you're currently dealing with?
Well, the response is good until now. It's true that in a community that we live in, young people have better things to do. No?
For sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, they've got time to hustle, right? And
That's
to sit,
it.
you know, but people don't realize, like as I was speaking to one of our friends earlier on in the week, and I mentioned to him that, you know, when we think of career, we think of hustling and things like that. People don't actually realize, even though you go and study a particular field, you're not the only one that's studying for that field. And then, and right now, competition is very, very high. You know, everybody is fighting for the same position. Everybody is fighting to get that experience. And you know, they don't really understand that you have to equip yourself with as many skills as possible, so that you do not limit yourself to the things to the opportunities out there. So you know, the more you equip yourself with knowledge, and also the more you equip yourself with experience, whether it's voluntary, you know, whether you're not being paid for it, it still helps in the long run.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think about that as a leader?
Well, I always advise young people, especially those who are around my own environment, okay? I always tell them that if you can't get an internship, okay, go and do a voluntary job.
Yeah.
Because that volunteering job will help you to get skills. You understand? Some people, when they finish their academic program, they want to get into the workplace straight away. But regard that South Africa now, it's a country that young people hardly get job. You understand? There is a very high percentage of unemployment. And because of that, young people are getting into drugs, others are stealing, others are working like in a underemployment, 2 or 3 jobs at the same time. You know,
Yeah.
so it breaks my heart when I see something like that. And because of lack of experience, not because of lack of knowledge. At university or at college, okay, you get the skills. They teach you the skills, but you don't develop the skills.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
At university, they teach you the skills, how to do this, how to do that, how to take a camera, how to speak as a presenter, you know.
But you need
to
yeah.
be in an environment where you practice that
Yeah,
skill.
yeah. Okay, we're just gonna take a short break quickly. I like where this is going, and I want to keep it there. I want to keep it at
Yeah.
that level. So we're gonna take a short break. So when we come back, then we're gonna continue that conversation. So guys, stay tuned in. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. All right, guys, welcome back. You're still watching Open Studio right here on Cape Town TV. So, like we mentioned earlier on, today's conversation is all about youth leadership and empowerment. All right, so we talked a little bit or a lot about the importance of leadership within our community, within our society, and within our social groups. You know, how to understand individuals before you can go out there and claim yourself to be a leader. So just to continue, we have moved away from that, and we've come into skills. You know,
Yeah.
pardon me, skills that are essential for young people in the outside world to find employment, you know. So, like to continue with the conversation that we mentioned earlier on, why do you think it's so important that youth in particular equip themselves with as much skills as possible, you know, so it can help them in whatever field it is that they're interested in fulfilling or in pursuing?
You know, personally, I'm someone who like educating myself.
Yeah.
You know, if I tell you, because you asked me about my background,
Yeah, yeah.
and I told you I can write a book about
Yeah.
that. I have over 20 certificates that are licensed, you know, of soft skills and hard skills. The skills that will help me, not even today, but later. Okay? I have a lot of my time given to education. Understand? Even things that are not related to my own field. I just try to get myself in because I don't know when this thing is going to help me. And especially when you're dealing with community, you need to have a lot of very, very, very nice skills in order to deal with people, especially the interpersonal ones.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so the necessity that every young person understands the importance of education is very high. And when it comes to employment, what we were talking before, we need to get into a place where let's put money aside. Okay, we need money. This is South Africa. Nothing is for mahala. That we know about that already. But we need to focus on skills because it is skills what gives you what you want.
Yeah.
You know, that's what opens you the doors
doors,
where you
yeah.
want to go. Yeah.
Wow. So, and for you to really understand where you are heading and where, you know, to find the necessary skills that suits you individually. Some people, you know, they don't realize or they find it hard, you know, to figure out where exactly are they in society, you know, and for that you need a good leader, you need a good influence, you know. So speaking of influence, we are in an era where within our communities there are more evil than good, you know. How important do you think it is that young people have found good influence, good role models, you know, for the future?
Well, as you said, we're now in a community that there is more bad than good. But that doesn't mean that we don't have good. Okay, so which means there are still people out there who are really willing to mentor others to grow. So it's about every person who has that need of growing. Okay, I want to grow. Maybe you are a young man out there, you're following me at the moment, and you say, okay, I need to grow on something. I need to get this and that. Okay, but you don't know who where to go and who to give yourself to. Okay, because it all requires that commitment. You know, even when it comes to us mentors, we don't want to mentor somebody who is not committed.
Yeah.
So if you really committed and you have that spirit of growing fast, you will find somebody anyways. You know, you don't need to be mentored by someone who have 24 companies that are successful. You don't need to be mentored by any big entrepreneur, someone who is rich, for you to know that you have a true mentor with you. You need to be mentored by somebody who has found himself, knows his capacity, knows what he can give to you.
Yeah. So, so speaking on that, you as a mentor, what is in it for you?
Well, in it for me as a mentor.
Yeah. What
Like
is in it for you? Why do you see the need to wanting to help?
Because, you know, nobody can grow by themselves. Nobody. You can't tell me that I grew up by myself. That's a lie. You know, even in entrepreneurship world, that's why we have mentors.
Yeah.
You can't start a business and say, I made it by myself. You are a liar. You need people. You need advisors. Even if it's not going to be a direct mentor, like someone who is mentoring you directly. It might be an indirect mentor, which means someone who just advises you. So when you have trouble, you go to the person, he advises you, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You know? So it depends on how you take the person or how you want that mentorship be.
Yeah.
You don't need to have a direct mentor. You can have someone who just helps you when there is a need.
Yeah.
And you go and he helps you and then it's done.
Yeah. So
That's a simple way.
coming back to the organization, you know, looking to the future, you know.
Yeah.
So what is the future looking like for this organization?
Well, the future is very bright, especially that we are really focused on organizing very much events for the community, especially for the next year. Next year we are having a public speaking conference. Okay, we're going to speak about the public speaker and the public speaking.
Okay.
Okay, so because you know one of the things that can enhance a career of a young man or anybody in any industry, if you are good with public speaking, you can be the richest person in the company.
Because of the influence.
That's it. So public speaking is like a key for you to grow fast. You can be very good in anything you do as a technician, whatever you do, okay? But when you include public speaking, ability to present, you can go very far.
Wow. So for those that's watching right now, and you know they want to get in contact with you, want to know more about your organization and how they can, you know, go about it. How can they do so?
Or they can go to our Facebook page, okay, Youth Leadership Empowering Center. You like our page, send a message. We will be there to help you, okay?
Yeah.
Or you can get to my email, yeah, which is lusimanadio12@gmail.com. That's my personal one. You can get straight to me. Okay. And any question, anything you want, maybe you have abilities to support and sponsor on something, you want to invest your time on this organization,
can
you
also
are
reach
can also reach through, and you're more than welcome to do it. So together we can build a better society.
Yes, for sure. Together we can build a better society. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the program,
Thank
but
you
this
very
was
much,
one informative and influential program. I'm really pleased to be in your presence today. So thank you so much for that. And for those that's watching at home, I hope you learned just as much as I did today, and also you got involved with us. And I urge you to go out there and search out the social media platform, get in touch with him and see how you can help build and develop your community wherever you find yourself. So that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning through one more time. So till next time from the Cape Town TV crews, bye-bye. Thank you.